In the wake of Queen Elizabeth II's passing, the world mourned the loss of a monarch whose reign spanned decades, shaping not just the history of the British monarchy, but the modern history of the world. Her death in September 2022 marked the end of an era, leaving a vacuum in both the public and private spheres of royal life. As tributes poured in from across the globe, many found solace in the Queen's enduring legacy, a testament to her steadfast commitment to the crown and the country she had served her entire life. Yet, amidst the outpouring of grief, something was stirring behind the palace walls, something that would threaten to reshape the future of the monarchy itself. The discovery of the Queen's hidden diary. It all began at Balmoral Castle, a beloved retreat of the royal family nestled in the Scottish Highlands, where the family had gathered to reflect on the loss of their matriarch. It was a time of mourning, of quiet contemplation. But for Princess Anne, the Queen's only daughter, and often regarded as the most pragmatic member of the royal family, it was also a time of unexpected discovery. While her siblings appeared engrossed in their personal reflections, Anne, ever the dutiful figure, found herself in the quiet solitude of the royal estate's expansive grounds. It was there, in the silence of the castle, that she stumbled upon a hidden treasure, an artifact of the past that would set in motion a series of events that would rock the royal family to its core. Anne's discovery was not something as dramatic as a secret letter or a hidden will, but rather a seemingly unremarkable leather-bound diary that had been carefully tucked away in a forgotten corner of the Queen's private study. The diary, though humble in appearance, was a window into the inner world of the monarch, a private space where the Queen had recorded her most personal thoughts and reflections. The existence of the diary was, for all intents and purposes, a mystery. Despite the Queen's deep ties to her family and her unwavering devotion to the monarchy, she'd always been intensely private about her personal life. Few had ever known the full extent of her thoughts on her reign, the monarchy's future, or the personalities that made up her closest family. Princess Anne, always keenly aware of the delicate nature of royal matters, understood the weight of what she had found. She also understood the profound impact that revealing its contents could have on the monarchy, a subject that had already undergone dramatic changes over the years. The Queen's unexpected admiration for Princess Catherine. Among the pages of the diary, Princess Anne found a striking passage that caught her attention. It was not about herself or her brother Charles, nor about any of the younger members of the royal family. It was instead about Princess Catherine, wife of Prince William, and the Queen's assessment of her potential role in the monarchy's future. The Queen's words were not just complimentary, they were profound, revealing a depth of admiration for Catherine that went beyond the typical praises of a supportive royal spouse. The Queen had seen Catherine not only as a stabilizing figure for her husband, but also as someone who could one day play a critical role in the leadership of the monarchy itself. There was a sense of reverence in the way the Queen described Catherine, a young woman who, despite her royal responsibilities, maintained an authentic connection with the people, embodying the warmth and compassion that had once defined the late Princess Diana. For Princess Anne, who had always maintained a quiet yet steady presence in the royal family, the discovery was both enlightening and unsettling. She had known that Catherine was beloved by the public, but the Queen's endorsement suggested something far more significant. The monarch's words seemed to hint that Catherine, with her calm demeanor and modern sensibilities, might one day take on a far greater leadership role than anyone had anticipated. This was not merely a supportive role as wife and mother, but a position at the forefront of the monarchy, a stabilizing force in times of uncertainty. The decision to reveal the diary. Princess Anne knew that revealing the contents of the diary was not a decision to be taken lightly. The royal family had always operated under a strict code of secrecy, where personal matters were often kept hidden from public view. The revelation of the Queen's private thoughts could easily divide the family, causing rifts that might never heal. However, Anne also knew that her mother had always placed the institution of the monarchy above all else. In her eyes, the monarchy's survival depended on understanding the evolving role of each member of the royal family, and the Queen's diary was a roadmap that could guide them through the turbulent years ahead. As the royal family prepared to leave Balmoral and return to their respective duties, Anne found herself standing at a crossroads. Could she, in good conscience, keep such a powerful secret hidden away? Or would she risk exposing the truth, knowing the consequence it would have for her family? The decision, as difficult as it was, became clear during a quiet walk through the castle's sprawling gardens. The time for secrets had passed. The monarchy was at a critical juncture, and the Queen's thoughts, her final legacy, needed to be shared. The family gathered in a private meeting, one that was limited to only the most senior members of the royal household. There, in the somber confines of Sandringham, Princess Anne presented the diary. Her voice, steady yet tinged with a sense of urgency, echoed through the room as she read aloud selected passages. The initial entries were reflective, touching on the Queen's deep sense of duty and her unwavering commitment to the crown. But as Anne continued reading, the tone shifted. The Queen's concerns about the future of the monarchy began to surface, alongside her belief that certain members of the royal family might not be suited to the roles they had inherited. The Queen's surprising words about Charles. The revelations did not stop with Catherine. As Anne delved deeper into the diary, she came across another entry, one that would prove to be even more contentious. This time, the focus shifted to King Charles III. The Queen had long expressed her respect and admiration for her son's tireless work as Prince of Wales. Yet, in her diary, she had written candidly about her concerns for his ability to lead the monarchy into the future. The Queen described Charles as a committed and dedicated figure, but one who might struggle to connect with younger generations and modern sensibilities. She feared that his ascension to the throne might create a rift between the monarchy and the public, a divisiveness that could undermine the institution's stability. The Queen's words were not harsh, but they were deeply pointed. They suggested that while Charles was well suited to lead, he might not have the ability to unite the monarchy and the people in the way that the next generation, represented by William and Catherine, could. The tension in the room during the reading of this passage was palpable. Charles, already grappling with the weight of his mother's passing, now had to contend with her perceived doubts about his reign. His response, or lack thereof, was telling. He said nothing. Camilla, however, did not hold back. Her discomfort was evident, her eyes narrowing with each word as Anne read from the diary. "This is utterly inappropriate," she declared, her voice sharp. "The Queen supported Charles wholeheartedly during her lifetime, and I won't allow her words to be used to undermine him now." Princess Anne, unwavering in her resolve, responded calmly. "This isn't about undermining anyone," she explained. "It's about understanding what the Queen foresaw and ensuring that the monarchy can endure the challenges that lie ahead." The diary's deepening of insecurities. The Queen's words about Catherine were not just complimentary, they were prophetic. The diary's passages framed Catherine as the monarchy's future leader, a stabilizing force not just for her husband, Prince William, but for the institution itself. While the Queen had never publicly said as much, the private reflections left no room for ambiguity. Catherine was to be the future face of the monarchy, not just as a consort, but as a leader in her own right. For Catherine, this revelation sparked an internal battle. Although she had always quietly accepted the weight of her royal responsibilities, this new expectation, one voiced by the Queen herself, felt overwhelming. Catherine's deep-rooted insecurities began to surface in ways they hadn't before. She had never asked for such a role, had never longed for the throne or the limelight that came with it. Her quiet dedication to supporting William had always been her primary focus. But now, the Queen's words had suddenly placed her in the spotlight, casting her as the future of the monarchy, whether she was ready for it or not. A rare moment of vulnerability with William. Behind closed doors, Catherine was hardly as composed as she appeared in public. The weight of the Queen's revelations began to take its toll. There was a vulnerability in her that no one could see on the outside, a vulnerability she had only ever shared with her husband, Prince William. One night, after a particularly grueling round of public appearances, Catherine broke down, revealing her anxieties to William. "I never asked for this," Catherine confessed, her voice tinged with frustration and exhaustion. "I've always supported your father's role. I've always believed in my place beside you, not as a future queen, but as a supportive wife. I never wanted the world to see me as anything more than that." William, always her steady anchor, listened carefully. He understood the pressure she was under better than anyone. The prince, too, had been feeling the shift in the air. His grandmother's words had placed him and Catherine at the forefront of the royal future. And while the endorsement was humbling, it was also a responsibility neither of them had asked for. "You are exactly what the monarchy needs," William said, his tone soft but firm. "This isn't just about the future of the monarchy. It's about how we shape it. If the Queen saw this in you, it means you've always had it within you, even if you didn't see it yourself." Catherine nodded, but couldn't shake the nagging thought that perhaps the weight of such a role was more than she could bear. The immense expectations now placed on her were not just about fulfilling the role of consort, but about becoming the very embodiment of the monarchy's future. Public sentiment shifts. Catherine and William's growing popularity. As the royal family navigated the fallout from the diary's revelations, one thing became abundantly clear. The public was beginning to see Catherine and William as the true hope for the monarchy's future. Polls and media coverage began to reflect a noticeable shift in sentiment. Where once the royal family had been seen as a largely traditional institution, increasingly, the younger generation, embodied by William and Catherine, seemed to represent the future. A more modern monarchy, one that could weather the storms of the present. This shift in public perception wasn't lost on the palace. Behind closed doors, royal advisors quietly acknowledged the changing tides. The monarchy, which had long been a symbol of continuity and stability, now faced the reality that its future would likely rest with the younger generation. This new recognition of Catherine and William's importance, however, didn't come without its challenges. For Camilla, the Queen's words about Catherine only deepened her insecurities. Her position as Queen Consort was already tenuous, given the long-standing public perception of her relationship with Charles. The comparison between Catherine and Diana was almost inevitable, and every gesture that Catherine made, every smile, every interaction with the public, seemed to amplify the media's insistence on drawing parallels between Catherine and the late Princess of Wales. Anne's role, the weight of responsibility. Amidst this growing tension, Anne, the Princess Royal, found herself once again at the center of the unfolding drama. Her decision to reveal the Queen's diary had set off a chain reaction of events, and now, more than ever, she understood the weight of her actions. The royal family was grappling not just with the revelations of the past, but with the future that the Queen had envisioned. Catherine's increasing prominence only added fuel to the fire, and the fracture lines between the members of the royal family grew ever wider. But Anne was also grappling with something else, a secret from her own past that the Queen's diary now threatened to expose. The discovery of a deeply personal entry in the diary, one that Anne had hoped would remain buried, brought with it the possibility of further scandal. Anne's role as the family's moral compass was now in question. Her decision to reveal the diary's contents had already caused irreparable damage, and now, the specter of her own secret was threatening to unravel the delicate balance she had worked so hard to maintain. Camilla's resentment. a tenuous position. Camilla's frustration had been simmering for months, and the constant pressure of living in the shadow of Catherine's growing popularity was starting to take its toll. Behind closed doors, she vented her frustration to Charles. She had fought tirelessly for her place in the royal family, yet now it seemed that Catherine was eclipsing her at every turn. "This isn't just about honoring Diana," Camilla snapped, her voice sharp. "This is about undermining us, undermining my position." Charles, ever caught between his wife and his son, found himself torn. He had always been supportive of Camilla, but even he could not deny the overwhelming public affection for William and Catherine. Their appeal seemed to transcend the monarchy's traditional boundaries, and that was something Camilla could not easily accept. By September 2023, the tensions reached a breaking point. During a family event at Windsor Castle, which was meant to celebrate Prince George's milestone achievements, what should have been a joyous occasion turned into a thinly veiled competition between Catherine and Camilla. Catherine, as always, exuded warmth and relatability. She effortlessly connected with the attendees, and her natural grace shone through. Camilla, on the other hand, struggled to assert herself, her attempts to gain attention falling flat. The contrast between the two women was stark, and the dynamics of the royal family became painfully clear to all who were present. Catherine's burden: embracing her role and Diana's legacy. As the year wore on, Catherine continued to navigate the complexities of her new role. The expectations placed on her were not just about fulfilling the Queen's vision, but about embracing her legacy. One quiet evening in the summer of 2023, Catherine revisited the Queen's diary again, hoping to find clarity in the words that had so deeply affected her. It was during one of these moments that she stumbled upon something she had not expected: a personal note from the Queen herself. The note, tucked between the pages of the diary, was addressed to Catherine. It acknowledged the immense pressure Catherine would face as a member of the royal family and the public's growing expectations of her. The Queen spoke not only of Catherine's role in the family, but also of Diana's enduring legacy. In her words, the Queen expressed regret for not fully appreciating Diana's influence during her lifetime, urging Catherine to carry Diana's legacy forward. The weight of the Queen's words hit Catherine hard. Diana had always been a complex figure, and the comparisons between herself and the late princess had always been a source of public scrutiny. But this was different. This was a deeply personal request from the Queen. Catherine had always known that she shared some of Diana's qualities: her warmth, her empathy, her ability to connect with people. But the expectation to carry Diana's legacy forward was daunting. How could she possibly live up to such expectations without losing herself in the process? A growing rift, family tensions, and Anne's dilemma. As tensions within the family continued to grow, Anne found herself faced with an even more difficult decision. The Queen's diary had revealed yet another deeply personal secret, one that threatened to unravel everything Anne had worked to protect. The secret, which had remained hidden for years, was now exposed, and Anne's role within the family was at risk. The stakes were higher than ever, and Anne knew that the revelation of this secret could change everything for the royal family. As the royal family grappled with the fallout from the diary's revelations, Anne found herself questioning whether she had made the right decision in revealing the Queen's words. The monarchy was at a crossroads, and the future was uncertain. Each member of the family had their own interpretation of the Queen's vision, but none could have foreseen the extent to which the diary would shape their lives and relationships. The royal family was facing a crisis of unprecedented proportions. The Queen's death had left a void that no one could fill. And now, as the family grappled with the complex legacy she had left behind, it became clear that the monarchy's future would be defined by much more than tradition. It would be shaped by the choices each family member made in the years to come. Media scrutiny, the impact on public opinion. As the royal family continued to wrestle with these personal revelations, The media, always eager to uncover new layers of royal drama, began to spin the narrative. The public, ever fascinated by the lives of the monarchy, took a particular interest in the perceived divisions within the family. Anne, who had long been regarded as a symbol of duty, suddenly found herself at the center of a storm. The media portrayed her as a figure struggling to reconcile her private past with her public role, and the public's response was mixed. On one hand, many praised her for her candor and willingness to address the issue head-on. On the other hand, there were those who questioned whether Anne's actions were motivated by something other than duty. Camilla, already on shaky ground with the public due to her controversial history with Charles, found herself increasingly isolated. Her reputation as the queen consort had never been fully secure, and the diary's revelations only added fuel to the fire. As Anne's story gained traction, Camilla's frustration grew. She began to retreat from public engagements, a move that left Charles to shoulder much of the royal responsibilities on his own. His role as king had always been difficult, but now he faced not only the burden of leadership, but the complex dynamics within his own family. Anne's public address, a bid for unity. By March 2024, the tension within the family reached a boiling point. Rumors of discord dominated the headlines, and the public began to question the monarchy's ability to present a united front. With the media frenzy escalating, Anne made the decision to address the situation directly. In a rare television interview, she spoke candidly about the diary's contents and her role in revealing them. "The diary is a window into the Queen's thoughts," Anne explained, her voice steady but firm. "It was never my intention to create division within the family. My hope was, and still is, that it can serve as a guide for us all, something to help us navigate the challenges ahead." The interview was met with widespread acclaim, with many praising Anne for her transparency and honesty. Her words resonated with the public, who admired her courage in the face of such a personal revelation. However, within the palace, the tensions remained. Charles, who had always relied on Anne as a trusted confidant, was deeply unsettled by the idea that her actions might have been influenced by unresolved emotions. The monarchy, which had long been built on the foundations of loyalty and tradition, was now at risk of being torn apart by the very family members entrusted with its future. A changing monarchy. William and Catherine's leadership. As spring gave way to summer, the royal family found themselves at a crossroads. The diary had unearthed secrets and forced them to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves and one another. Yet, amidst the turmoil, a sense of hope began to emerge. William and Catherine, who had long been seen as the future of the monarchy, began to take on more prominent roles within the family. Their focus shifted toward unity, modernization, and strengthening the bond between the monarchy and the people. They sought to create a new vision for the monarchy, one that was more transparent, accessible, and in tune with the public's expectations. William and Catherine's efforts to lead the family forward were met with support, both within the royal circle and among the public. Their initiatives, which included addressing social inequality and promoting environmental sustainability, quickly gained traction. It was clear that the Queen had placed her faith in them to lead the monarchy into the future. As the family worked through their differences, it became apparent that William and Catherine were the key to the monarchy's revitalization. The final revelation, the Queen's vision for the future. By July 2024, the monarchy stood on the cusp of a new era. Anne, having revealed much of the Queen's diary, was now preparing to share its final, most transformative entry. This last revelation would shape the future of the monarchy and offer a roadmap for navigating the complexities of the 21st century. As she gathered the senior members of the family at Balmoral to unveil the Queen's final words, there was a palpable sense of anticipation. The Queen's last entry was nothing short of revolutionary. She had recognized that the monarchy was at a crossroads, its relevance in a rapidly changing world in question. But she also presented a vision for a modernized monarchy, one that would prioritize transparency, diversity, and accessibility. At the heart of her message was a bold directive. The monarchy must serve the people, not the other way around. It was a call for the monarchy to evolve, to adapt to the changing times, or risk becoming obsolete. In the days that followed, William and Catherine embraced their roles as the future leaders of the monarchy. Together, they spearheaded efforts to modernize the institution and engage more directly with the public. Their leadership, grounded in the Queen's vision, signaled a new era for the royal family. Yet, even as they moved forward, the question remained: could the family truly move past the divisions that had been laid bare by the revelations of the diary? Only time would tell. As the monarchy continued to evolve, one thing was clear. The Queen's legacy had set the stage for a future that was both uncertain and full of potential. The royal family had faced trials and tribulations, but through it all, they had emerged stronger, united by a shared commitment to adapting to the changing world around them.